And welcome back, students. We are going to continue looking at variables. This is our second half of the lesson. So today we are going to kind of look at how to output those variables. We kind of saw a little bit of that last time. I left our code up so we can see this. We have print z, which simply outputted the value of z. But I didn't really talk much about how to work printing variables. And the thing is, with printing variables, it's actually pretty simple. So I can just come in here and say print z. Just as easily, I could have it print x. All right, and if I press F5, you can see now it just outputs the value 3. Of course, 3 never changed because I never did anything up here to x. If I wanted to, of course, change the value of x, I could do something like x is equal to x plus 1. And now, of course, if I run my code, you'll see that x has been changed to 4. In some programming languages, you'll have, like, for example, incrementer operations like x++. If you try doing that in Python, of course, though, you will get an error because there is no plus operator in Python. So for those of you that might be using those kind of incrementers, it doesn't work. So you have to use like x equals x plus 1. Of course, you could also do, I believe, x plus equals, I think, might exist here in Python. So you can do that, and of course, that would do the same thing. So this, if you want to just add 1 and store it back into the original variable, this is, of course, 2 different ways of doing that. Now, that's, of course, getting into some more math stuff that we could use for last time. But now let's actually go stop and talk about printing those variables. So I'm just going to back this code up just a little bit here. And let's go back to our very simple program here. So here I have print x, right? I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add some code after print x. So let's just say x now is equal to 2. And we're going to print x. And let's say x is now equal to x plus y. And let's print x. So now we have a little bit more code in our program. So let's go ahead and run this. And you see now we have 3, 2, and 4.5. The reason why I wanted to show you this is because you can see with these print statements how x changes throughout the course of the program. X starts as 3, but down here, we changed x to 2. It didn't add it to 3. It didn't subtract it, do anything. It just straight up changed it from 3 to 2. And down here, when x became x plus y, remember y was 2.5, and x at this point in time is 2. Remember, it's not 3 anymore, it's 2. So I did 2 plus 2.5, which gave me the 4.5 right here. So very important to know that the place in which you're putting these print statements in order to generate something in your program is pretty important. Now, let's actually do something a little more complicated in our program here. So let's go ahead and just say, we're going to say like, let's do x equals 3, y equals 4, and z equals 1. All right. So those are our 3 variables. Now let's say we want to do something like a variable for, we're going to add them up. All right, we're doing something. So like answer equals x plus y plus z. Now I can, of course, print out answer, which of course should give me the correct response. And see, we get 8. However, another way that I could do the same thing is I can print x plus y plus z. And if I run that, we should see that we get 8 twice. Notice that these both do the exact same thing. Now, there are advantages to doing this one way over another. So, for example, in the first print here, the advantage of that is that if I need to use that sum for something else in my program, so let's say later I want to say, hey, I want to take all these numbers that were added up and I want to square it or cube it because I want to know what that is. So, for example, let's go ahead and do a cube of it. So we want to say, hey, what's the cube of this? Print what is the cube of answer. Okay. So then we can just say print. Now, I could, of course, if I had not created answer, I'd have to do parentheses x plus y plus z times parentheses x plus y plus z parentheses times parentheses, x plus y plus z, parentheses, parentheses. All right. That's quite large. All right. That's a lot of code to have to type. Now, that will get me the correct answer. However, the advantage of doing something like storing that into another variable first is that I can then do this. Answer times answer times answer. It's the exact same thing, but it's simplified. So now when I go to run this program, we get 512, which is going to be the correct response. Because remember, it's 3 plus 4 plus 1, which is 8. And 8 times 8 times 8 is 512. So this is one of the strengths of using a variable. And is the reason why we pulled this out of the last lesson, because I didn't want to overwhelm you with the possibility of learning how we can use print statements like this in order to help us derive different things. But that's going to wrap up what I have for you today. We are starting to get into some more exciting things. Next time we'll be looking at strings so we can actually start understanding how different words and phrases get processed inside of Python. So until then.